Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity, and unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning, and unto the Bayatha Dawada, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. All right, this afternoon's lesson is based off of a proverb. Basically, it goes by a wise man fills his brain before emptying his mouth. But to keep it simply short is silence is better than noise. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get straight into it. Why that is. Why it's better to be quiet than to be loud. This is going to be the book of Proverbs. It's going to be chapter 17, verse 28. And it says, even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise. And he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. So, someone that knows how to control their tongue and stay quiet, they are counted as wise. Because, acting on impulse can make you seem foolish, stupid, and ultimately it's embarrassing. Because you just made yourself look like a clown in front of everybody else. So sometimes it's best to just stay quiet and be still. Okay? And ultimately, in most situations, being quiet, staying silent can save your life. And this is Proverbs chapter 18, verse 13. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him. So, before you even know what's going on and you act like you know what's going on and you say something, but it doesn't pertain to what's really going on, because you didn't listen first and understand the situation, it makes you look stupid. That's why, again, another thing that most people say is think before you speak, or hear before you speak. Now this is Proverbs 29. Proverbs 29, verse 11. And it says, a fool uttereth all his mind, but a wise man keepeth it in till afterwards. So, a fool is just gonna mouth off, right? Just spout nonsense. But a wise person will stay quiet. He will hold his peace until everything is all said and done. So that's the difference between someone who's impulsive and someone who has control. Okay? They say that, the tongue is a small organ, but it wields a lot of power. And the scriptures tell you, roughly paraphrasing, death and life are in the power of the tongue. So, that's why you really have to be mindful of what you say. You really have to use your head in all aspects of life. You really have to use your head and think before you make any moves, before you speak. Now again, this is Proverbs chapter 12. Proverbs 12 and 23. It says, a prudent man concealeth knowledge, but the heart of fools proclaimeth foolishness. Okay? So in other words, once again, just a wise man knows how to shut up, knows when to shut up, and knows when to speak. But a fool, he doesn't know how, when. He doesn't realize that there's a time and place for everything. In fact, let me get that. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Let's see. There we go. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 7. And it says, a time to rent, and a time to sow, and a time to keep silence, and a time to speak. So, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak. And a wise man understands that. That right there itself is a balance. Say very little, but make that very little mean a lot. And it's just stay quiet until the time is right. And now we're going to get the book of, excuse me. It's going to be the book of Sirach. Okay. This is Sirach. Chapter 11, I'm going to start at verse 7, and it says, blame not before thou hast examined the truth. Understand first, and then rebuke. So, don't start pointing fingers before getting the facts first, and knowing what's really going on. As it says, understand first, and then rebuke. So, examine the whole matter first, and then make the corrections. Verse 8, answer not before thou hast heard the cause. Neither interrupt men in the midst of their talk. So again, a time to speak and a time to keep silence. Let them talk. Let them finish. Verse 9, strive not in a matter that concerneth thee not, and sit not in judgment with sinners. So strive not in a matter that doesn't, if there's something going on and it has nothing to do with you, just stay out of it. Leave it alone. Don't be what they call a busybody. Just shut up and mind your own business. And sit not in judgment with sinners. So don't associate yourself with those type of individuals, man. Stay away from them, leave them alone. Verse 10, my son, meddle not with many matters, for if thou meddle much, thou shalt not be innocent, and if thou follow after, thou shalt not obtain, neither shalt thou escape by flying. So, again, man, just learn to mind your own business. Okay? In fact, let me find that scripture if I could. Let's see. There it is. Let's see, 1 Timothy First Timothy 5 and First Timothy First Timothy 5 and 13. And it says, and withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers, also and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. Okay? Being idle, not tending to matters that, that actually matter. Being busybodies, being nosy, speaking things which they ought not. Okay? Speaking on things that don't concern you at all. And another one, now this is 1 Peter 4. 1 Peter 4. 1 Peter 4 and 14, starting at 14, it says, if ye be reproached for the name of Hamashiach, happy are ye, for the spirit of glory and of the Most High resteth upon you. On their part he is evil spoken of, but on your part he is glorified. In verse 15, but let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. So, being in this ministry, being in this truth, man, there's a reason why the Most High says, be ye holy, for I am holy. Okay, to be separate. And that means to literally separate yourself from the rest of these people. Okay? Do not get involved with worldly matters that do not concern you. The only matter you should be concerned with and involved with is this. This is your matter. This is your business. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai's business is our business. As Yahweh Shai said, I am about my Father's business. So aren't we to be the same? Okay. Now, just a couple more scripts and I'm going to close out. This is going to be Isaiah 30. Isaiah 30 and 15, it says, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, the Holy One of Israel, in returning and rest shall ye be saved, in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, and ye would not. Okay, so in quietness and faith, there you find rest and strength. So, excuse me. By repenting and turning back to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, which is our true business and our true matter, we find not only rest, but peace and quietness. And in quietness and faith, you shall find that strength. The strength to have faith and to continue in this walk. Okay? Not having to worry about other people and what they're doing. Okay? You need to worry about your walk with the Lord. That's your business. Keep thine eyes single. Okay? Focus on what's most important in your life. Okay? Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai's business comes before everyone else's business. But if it doesn't concern you, don't even bother. Don't bother. Don't waste your time, don't waste your energy, don't waste your effort. Now, finally, going to close out with this is going to be James chapter 1, verse 19. And it says, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath." Verse 20, "For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of the Most High." Verse 21, "Wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity, and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls." Okay, so again, be swift to hear, so listen, slow to speak, be quiet, slow to wrath, stay in control. "For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of the Most High." So wrath, jealousy, anger, envy, bitterness, just all around negative energy, that's not working. That's not working righteousness. That's not walking in righteousness. That's not doing what is right. Okay? And it says, it's in verse 21, I'll read verse 21 again. It says, "Wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness." So, in other words, all filthiness, all filthy conversation, all abominable acts, just nonsense of this life, and the superfluity of naughtiness. Don't indulge in the delicacies of pleasure and all that of this place and all that other stuff. Okay, that's nothing but a distraction, man. And it says, "And receive with meekness the engrafted word." And the engrafted word, receive it with meekness, with humility. Receive this word with humility, which is able to save your souls. That's why it says here in Hebrews 13 and 9, it says, "Be not carried about with diverse and strange doctrines, for it is a good thing that the heart be established with grace, not with meats." And that meats is talking about philosophy, the doctrines, the things of this world, the worldly wisdom, which is foolishness with the Most High. It's all stupidity. These people, they claim that they have wisdom, but they don't know what true wisdom is. And it says, "Which have not profited them that have been occupied therein." So being occupied in the ways of this world, man, what benefit what benefit has it been unto you? Has it gotten you anywhere? No. So why bother? This is our business. This is the matter which we are to attend to. This is the doctrine we should follow. Of all doctrines, of all philosophies, of all things, this is what we should follow. This is our school, this is our education, this is what life is all about. But, our people are, the majority of our people, 2/3, they're so fucked up and fucked off. They try to do their damnedest to prove and find ways that the heathen can be a part of this. Especially, they want to save, the oppressor, Esau, Edom. That Stockholm Syndrome, man, that is a strong poison. So, again, this lesson was based upon a so-called African proverb, which is, a wise man fills his mind before emptying his mouth. So just to put, just in short, the title of the lesson is Silence is Better Than Noise. As it says, roughly paraphrasing in Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 1, keep thy foot when thou comest to the house of the Lord, and be more ready to hear than to speak. So, I'm speaking to myself first and foremost. Listening is an art and a skill. It really is. Some of us are better at listening than others. Some of us need some work. It doesn't mean that that you're stupid. It just, if you forget something, okay, it could be a listening issue, or you forgot. Sometimes you need to be told more than once, and then it just finally clicks. If you forget something, write it down, and then if you forget, just look at it and say, okay. So again, silence is better than noise. Lord willing that this was edifying to the body and to the sincere believers and listeners. And with closing, I'd like to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha Kodash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Bayath and Dawadah, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. See you in the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharala, Wa Abba Babal, Shalom, Barakatam.